to be prepared for Iowa State. And I think one of the things I might have said is, well, can you smile a little? And so the face thing about I'm going to be serious all the time, he said it back then. And so, and we're good with that. I love it. He's laser focused.
You know, if I was the fakest smile, that would be worse. So this is how I look. I mean, I do have joy, I have fun. The players will experience that. The coaches experience that. I don't walk around smiling everywhere. So just get used to it.
Do you want to quickly just introduce Ricky and John since they're here?
Yeah, I will. Ricky Ciccone is our general manager. Unbelievable worker, great person, great family. Who's going to fit in this community. Awesome. Jonathan Schaefer, chief of staff, has been with me one of the longest. He was a student intern a long time ago, probably back in 2014, and he's been with me ever since. And so several of these staff members that will be joining us, which I'll hit on later when the full release comes out, a lot of them have been with me for years. There's a level of consistency of how things have been built. And I'll be adding some faces that I haven't worked with but have known for years, have competed against, have grown a level of appreciation for their competitiveness and the culture in which they've created. And that is familiar here with Iowa State. So I'm really excited for that.
All right. Questions? Rob, Greg, get your hand up first.
Matt. Coach, there's another story Jamie shared with us on Friday night about your playing career, and I believe, correct me if I get it wrong, Jamie, but you said you had 0 scholarship offers and you talked your way onto the South Dakota State football team. What does a journey like that do for you as you transition to coaching immediately after that and now into this role at Iowa State?
Yeah, so I wasn't really recruited out of high school. I had a couple Division II opportunities. It was granted an opportunity to go to South Dakota State and earn a scholarship. John Stiglmeyer, who was my mentor along that journey, I mean, I went there on scholarship, but very much similar to, you know, this is kind of who I am, and you can report and ask him on those things. I went on that visit. It was -4. I'm from Chandler, Arizona. I showed up. They were auctioning off a pig. At halftime, it looked like a scene out of the movie Hoosiers or something. And I met a lot of unbelievable people. And John Stiglmeyer gave me an opportunity. And for that, I didn't care about anything else or where I was going to live. I got done with that visit and I went home and my dad said, "What'd you think?" I said, "I'm going to commit." Asked about the facilities. I said, "I don't care." They were, honestly, at that time, they were worse than my high school facilities. I told him that. Flew out to my house the next day. I committed because it was about the opportunity of chasing and living out a dream. For me, playing Division I football was a dream for me. He gave me that shot. Man. And I fought to prove him right. He's given me numerous opportunities. But I would tell you more than anything else, I've learned how to work, stay consistent, live the right way. Oh, man, you hit on the one with that. But I'm proud of my journey. I've been really consistent. Anybody that knows me knows that. The coaches that I'm bringing have been loyal to me, and I've been loyal to them. And we're going to grow this product of something really special here. And I've had unbelievable mentors along the way, and I have unbelievable people that I can call that can lead me into this new chapter of my life, because anybody that acts like they have it all, situated and tight, or you can learn every single day about this opportunity, about this job, about the future of what it could be, and I'm always open to those things. But yeah, I was blessed. I was blessed to get that opportunity. I've, worked extremely hard as a player and met unbelievable friends along my journey, and honestly, it's what kept me here in the Midwest. When I showed up to South Dakota State, I thought, what is out here? And 19 years later, flew by. I met my wife. We had children here. My in-laws are here. So a place that I thought right away when I got to, when you're a freshman, just like most freshmen do, whether you're 30 minutes away or 24 hours away, you think, man, am I going to be able to last for 4 to 5 years? And then in a blink of an eye, it's your biggest fear in your life, is that this is coming to an end. And I didn't know what to do without football. Started my journey into the coaching ranks, and John Stiglmeyer gave me that opportunity, and I've been blessed. Those that were around me, and I think he's got an unbelievable tree of hiring great coaches. Clark Lee, who's the head coach at Vanderbilt, was my position coach. And so I've had great mentorship just in a position room and great leadership as a head coach. And there have been numerous coaches that have come through and cycled through our program that I had the opportunity to meet, saw how they, I don't know anything different other than watching all these great coaches come together. So I've been blessed along my journey.
I apologize, I didn't introduce myself, Rob Gray, Cyclone Fanatic and Cedar Rapids Gazette. So
Appreciate
nice
it.
to meet you.
Thanks.
Tom?
Tommy Birch, Des Moines Records.
Don't ask me a similar question to that. All right?
Give him a laugh.
We may have to be here a while if that was the case.
You'd mentioned meeting with the team last night. Just wondering, what was your message to them and how did that go?
Yeah, honestly, meeting in the middle of what I understand that they're going through. I just came from this very similar situation, and I was kind of somewhat forced, not forced, but at the same time, like, I made this decision. The timing isn't always the best right now in college football, and the players are going through a hard time, And I said to them, if you didn't feel this way, it wasn't done right. And the fact that it feels this way and that you feel the pain, the hurt, it's a credit to Coach Campbell that there's this feeling inside of you of, man, what do I do? And kind of feels shook. I think that that's a great sign of great coaching as far as how they were loved and treated inside of this program, but they're not going to be treated much different. We're cut from the same cloth. I've admired his career and how he's done it and how he stayed consistent and the values in which he preached, and these players live it. And it won't be that much different. I watched how he grew his program with the consistency of keeping those close to him and elevating them in their life. You can see that in those coaches' loyalty to him. It's a credit to who he is as a person. And although we get bashed for the decisions that we made, bet you that might be the first decision that he's made for himself in a very long time. And so he's deserved it. We'll work through this together. It's our relationship. But my message to the team was just give us an opportunity to meet our staff. And so some of our defensive coaches that are coming with, they will be here today. And they'll have an opportunity to kind of see what the future of what Iowa State football will be from the leadership of who the position coaches will be, who the coordinators will be here shortly. I need to do that and get those, get our coaches in front of these guys so that they can start to build what is a relationship that will last for the next maybe 3 to 4 to 5 years of their career. I also know that it's extremely hard to make up a relationship of maybe 5, 6 years, right, with somebody that you love or somebody that you chose to come to the school for. So some players will end up leaving Iowa State, and that's a fact. And that's college football right now. And my job right now is to try to cultivate a culture that is in place, keep it, but also I have to bring players in to be extremely competitive and win a championship. And I'm hoping that number of those that decide to, depart is really small, but I just went through a whirlwind of understanding how to replace a lot of people and create a spirit in the program to do something special. So in that, Never thought I would be doing it this fast, but I'm well equipped to do this job and understand if things were to get to that point, I can carry us to the future.
Scott?
Hey Coach, Scott Rice for KCCI at CBS here in Des Moines. Welcome to Iowa,
Yeah,
you and
thank
your
you.
family. I was going to ask a little bit about the transfers. I know you just touched on that, but more into that process. How does that play out specifically over the next few days? And has anybody indicated that they do plan on leaving?
You know, spoke to the team last night, obviously, told them just give us a shot, hear us out. I want to get to know them. I'm not going to expect them to immediately love me. I'm a normal human being, and we have to get to know each other. We'll close that gap of a relationship that was already existing prior. I'll spend the whole week talking with them individually, one-on-one, of the things that were important to them, the things that they thought we could have done better here, their experience here, the relationships that they have, who they live with, who's close to them, their parents and their background, and then eventually our staff will be jumping on staff Zoom with all of our players' parents. And then we'll do the same thing from the offense and defensive side of the ball, so the defense and offense can be able to introduce them, and not just who they are as people, but what we do schematically. Because nowadays, these players, obviously, they want to do it at the highest level, and the majority of them want to go to the NFL. Okay, so a lot of the parents are involved and understand. Some parents just want to know their kid's going to be taken care of, but some parents are involved of saying, does this scheme, does the structure, does it fit for you to have a future here? And those are all things that we'll discuss throughout meetings in the next several weeks with the players. And there's going to be honest dialect between both sides, and some players will go. Naturally, some will go to Penn State. It's a common thing now, and if we don't like it, let's all change the rules. So I don't blame those kids at all, but I do think that there's something special here, and in my charge to them last night is that feeling that you had when you chose Iowa State. It wasn't just off of one person, it was how a community made you feel, it was how those teammates made you feel, and there was a spirit behind that and why you chose to come here. And don't just take it for granted that you're going to find it at the next place, because it's not always the case. And I think it went well. There's a line of players waiting outside to meet me, and I have a whole week and a half to get through this entire football team, and to try to do it genuinely and just have a conversation with them and what's important.
Coach Chris Williams with Cyclone Fanatic, welcome to Ames. Just curious about your overall general football philosophy. I've seen your teams play a little bit, but what you know about the Big 12 Conference, what style of football should fans expect to see from your team?
Yeah, I would say defensively, one that's multiple, that will use disguises and be more attacking. A really fundamentally sound defense that has had really great success over the last 7 years. We're a four-man structure, but we can get into an odd front up front and get into what we would consider a spinner package, using a very athletic longer DN to kind of play as a hybrid linebacker in the system. One that has different rules that make it hard and challenging, whether it's zone or man. And then offensively, one that is also multiple, using many personnels, being physical up front, and having a belief, no matter what the circumstances in the game, that we'll apply the proper technique and strike people and run off the football in the run game and be able to be extremely explosive. Special teams, I believe in that being an explosive unit for us, one that has a level of consistency throughout the game, that eliminates error but maximizes its opportunity to make big plays in that game. They only get so many of them, so they got to be polished and they got to be explosive when you get those opportunities. Overall, some of these Big 12 teams, I haven't played all of them, right? But obviously I'm a football junkie. There's a lot of difference every single year with rosters and coaches, right? So there will be a deeper dive of study of those things when I start to find out the player strength that are on my team. I'm still looking at the film of the current players. My focus right now isn't necessarily on who we play next, in the upcoming season. It's more so, what do our players do well, and how can our staff put this team's talent in the ability to have success? Like where can I put them at as far as position, and what is their strengths, and how do we hide deficiencies in certain players? And those are all things that I still need time to watch. I've been here for 48 hours and I feel like we've accomplished a lot, but we're just scratching the surface right now, trying to get to know this team. Because I can tell you what, nothing matters unless you get to know the player. Nothing. The relationship is everything. And they gotta wanna go out and understand that you love them and that you're gonna push them more than you care about showing them what gap that they need to fit. Nobody cares about those things unless you care for them.
Hi, Jimmy, here in the back, Trey Redfield, sports anchor reporter, Local 5 for the ABC affiliate here in Des Moines. There are now 2 Jackrabbits in town, yourself, DJ Altenberger. How can your relationship benefit Iowa State athletics going forward?
Mine and TJ's?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for me, and maybe more on my side, he could teach me the ropes of Ames a little bit better, but now TJ's been a great asset to just have. He's one of the first guys that texted me when he found out. His family's unbelievable, and obviously he's very successful, so he understands what it takes to win and certain people to meet in order to continue to grow the program. And, you know, nowadays with the ability to impact our players in certain situations, NIL, he's already kind of had the ability to go through those steps and understand certain contacts to reach out to. So yeah, TJ has been great. It's been fun to watch his journey. His journey isn't that much different than kind of mine. The difference is, you know, he left to come back, right? And for me, I always was looking on the outside saying, man, that place is pretty awesome and I'd love to join it. I just am blessed to have met him through, you know, Coach's Rep, my agency, just with a professional opportunity to grow. And what I thought was, man, I'm gonna have to go take a off weekend to meet a bunch of ADs and presidents, you know, in an interview setting, which isn't a highlight of your life. No offense. It was an unbelievable experience, and I grew professionally, and that's what I was looking to do. But I didn't expect it to grow into this type of relationship. And somewhat off topic, you know, me and Jamie, he's texted me after prior to every game, like, hey, good luck, and I think that's pretty awesome for him to think that way. And I never expected it to happen this fast because of the job that Matt Campbell was doing, but I'm blessed to be here, and you know, I think TJ would say the same thing. This place is a special place.
Hey Jimmy, Ben Hutchins with the Quad City Times. If I remember right, you got to play in Jack Trice Stadium in 2008. Was that the first time you came to this campus, and what were your impressions of ISU at that time?
This is gonna sound sick, but I worked at Lazy Boy in high school, working to try to get a Division I scholarship. That was a part-time job of mine. When I knew that I was going to South Dakota State, the first thing I did or thought about was, will I play a Division I school? At that time, South Dakota State was transitioning to the FCS ranks. They were Division II a year prior to me, and then when I came in, we went into the FCS ranks, and that was the first school that I saw that we'd be playing that was FBS at that time. It's a big reason why I chose South Dakota State, is I tried to compete against some of the best in the country. The following year we played Minnesota. But yeah, that was my first time at Jack Trice. And I think it's grown since, and I think the attendance has grown since, and I think it's become one of the most electric atmospheres in college football, just with how, you know, fanatical the fans are. And it's something special. But yeah, I'll never forget that. If I took a picture of every stadium, you know, it's like a high school thing, but I took a picture of every single stadium that we'd be playing, and I'll never forget that. But I was working at Lazy Boy, using their printer when I was doing it.
Hi, Jimmy. I'm Jack Lito. I'm with KCRG, the ABC affiliate in Eastern Iowa. Jamie on Friday relayed a story about you when you took the job at Washington State. Jamie asked you, why did you take the job? And you said, because you told me I needed to go to the next level. First off, is that true? Did you say that?
Here's the thing. In conversating what takes you to get to the next step in your life, we were referencing the next step at Iowa State,
Yes.
correct? And for me, I didn't take the Washington State job and move across the country to abandon in 1 year.
Yeah.
I didn't. I took that jump because I believed in that product and what I could produce there with the region, with how it felt, with the people that hired me, with the feeling that I had in, I was replacing a former coach that I had a relationship with, that I could ask his family, what did you think of the town, the community, the spirit, and get great advice on this is a good job at a great place with special people. When I went there, it was unbelievable. I had a great support. The Coug Nation is somewhat insane. Everything is go Cougs there. And I got to meet a bunch of great people and a bunch of spirited people. And when I got this opportunity, I felt a sense of remorse, there's no doubt about it. But at some point, and I will say it again, I have to think about my family through this, uniqueness in college athletics. And I won't apologize for this, because this is the best thing that's ever happened to me and my family, as far as this opportunity to be close to family, for my son and daughter to grow up with their cousins only a couple hours away. That's rare. But the opportunity to chase a championship, Big 12 championship, national championship, I couldn't turn that down. And to do it for somebody that cares and carries values very similar to me, with a sense of security for the future, it's extremely important. And so, was it true that I was just taking a jump to jump? I wasn't. I was taking the jump to advance my life and to try to compete to get into the college football playoff at the next step. And I know nobody wants to hear it, and I know I'll get bashed, but it is what it is. Everybody will find a way to complain about something, and I'm blessed to be here.
I just want to ask why you had the prior relationship with Jamie. I'm just curious why Iowa State. I know you're now a Midwestern guy, but why did you ask him in the first place, how can I become the next head coach at Iowa State?
Because I appreciated the way Matt Campbell, when he hired Matt Campbell from Toledo, Matt Campbell was able to bring his entire staff. That was something that I think is really rare these days. We have a product the coaches created. They spend all the time of their life developing a product, and then a coach gets an opportunity, flies, takes a different job, but then he changes his entire staff. I don't think that makes sense. Matt Campbell didn't do that. He allowed him to do that. That was important to me in taking the Washington State job, that I could take the staff that was a part of building something special with me. Not a lot of people are willing to do that. There's not. They want this person or this person, and he has connections. And I think it's really, for me, it's always been about who do I get to do this with? And to hear some of the values, I'm not arrogant enough to think that this is about me and I'm just gonna create a product by myself. It is the people that you do it with, but for somebody to do that and put their neck out there and doesn't care about what level you coached at or where you were at, but if you can have success and work hard and do it the right way, and I felt that. And it wasn't necessarily just his answer, is how he said it and how I could read through him and understand that, this guy isn't full of it. So, yeah.
Coach, John Sears, WHO-TV, welcome to Iowa. Expectations here at Iowa State have been raised over the last 10 years immensely. Is that something you relish, the challenge of now fans and players expect to compete for Big 12 championships here in Ames?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And I think that's what the heartbeat of this football program should be and will be moving forward. I didn't come here to lose, and we will be competitive and be chasing to get into this college football playoff. I told the team that last night. So yeah, I don't think it's what Matt Campbell's done for this football program and what the team has accomplished to get to where we are at as a football program is extremely. It's intriguing why to come to this place, right? Nobody wants to go to a place that has zero success. So, somewhat common sense to the sense of, I want to be with a winner, right? And I want to do it here in the Midwest. I believe in recruiting these kids in this region. That's what I just spent my entire career doing, and getting to know their families. And Midwest values and vibes. I mean, most of the best players I ever coached, Christian Roseboom, Adam Bach, Logan Backus, these are all Iowa kids. And I was blessed to be around them, and I got to know their families, and I really appreciated just how they were raised. And there's a ton of them on this football team. I recruited Cooper Evil, and I recruited Bo Goodman. Bo Goodman was committed to South Dakota State. All of these guys, there's a lot of connection to this place because we recruit very similar. Great kids that want to do it at a place that has the same values, and so when the families align with us as coaches, it's a natural fit. That is this place, and I feel really strongly that I'll be able to bring great players into this program that will, elevate the program for the future.
Alec?
Hi, Coach. Alec Bussey, 24/7 Sports. As you talk about recruiting, what makes you confident in the resources and the ability that you're going to have to retain and then attract talent to this university?
The facilities are unbelievable, and what we're building here is unbelievable. But recruiting comes down to relationships, effort, commitment to each other, and if they want to chase something bigger than more than just a relationship in the time being, then maybe it's not a fit here at Iowa State. What my confidence stems from is I just did it for 19 years. I've been a part of understanding this dynamic of this area, and we will be extremely competitive in this state, recruiting some of the best players, in the country and this whole region. And I would say one blueprint that is awesome. I wish I could throw this out there because I know everything will be a soundbite later, but the prospect camps here, they're the real deal, and they ran right. And part of that stems from the Midwest traffic that goes through all of these, interstates to be able to come and compete at a Power 4 school. So you get a ton of traffic through here, and they're ran really well, and we're not going to stop them. We're going to continue to grow them and try to make that as big as possible because of that evaluation that you can get for high school kids at a paddock camp is extremely important. You get to see kids' competitiveness, you get to see their physicality, you get to see how they are as people, they get to see the campus, they get to meet your staff. I think those things are all really, really important because the more you see a player live on a live eval, the better shot you have at not missing on who they are as people and their talent.
Bill Seals with Cyclone Report on 3. Relating to the recruiting question, new class was just signed on Wednesday. I realize the current player is probably the priority there, but when do you start reaching out to those guys and getting a feel for how that relationship is?
Yeah, there's a couple that we recruited already. They just so happen to come here, and I gotta weigh that and where their thoughts are at right now. We're gonna have to have a conversation. I gotta do all this in a really timely manner. I'm also managing the roster of positions, right? And so there are certain positions that are really heavy, and there are certain positions that we need to grow to fit our scheme. And so I know that there will be attrition on this roster because we're going to a 4-man front, and we need to create numbers at the D-line position. And at the current moment, there's not enough on the team, and there's a lot of, this was a 3-4, so naturally there's a ton of way more DBs, right? We got to be able to balance a roster position, but we also aren't going to just push out the door great players that have had a future or had a level of consistency and will have a future here. So yeah, that will all be juggled here, meeting with the players. Some players will naturally leave because they don't know me and they want to make sure that they secure a future for themselves. That will be a part of this. And there will be players that come in, and who we bring in will be the right fit for Iowa State and will be bought into elevating this program.
Travis, you get the last question.
Travis Hines with the Des Moines Register. Welcome and congratulations. What do you view as your biggest challenge or challenges to building a competitive team in 26 and a competitive program going into the future?
One of the hardest things is the timeline of this with only, I took this job and how fast you have to work right now, making sure that you will be aligned if roster X spot ends up leaving. Those things are unique right now. So you got to put your ducks in a line. I got to get a staff here. Our staff needs to connect to these players. our focus will be on retention and getting to know these players. We're all doing that in a really quick time around the holidays. Then we don't see them for a month, right? The school date to start back is January 20th. The portal opens January 2nd. It will be open for 14 days, and I'm gonna have roughly 7 days to get to know them and who they are and try to connect with them and build a relationship all within a week. It's really hard to do because they don't know me, their parents don't know me, so there's a lot of action that needs to happen in a short amount of time, which I start meeting with players at 11:30.
All right.
And with that being said, how many more we got? Because as we talk about this,
We're done. Travis had the last word. So, thank you all for coming. Jamie and Jimmy will be off to the side for a few, sidebar questions for a few minutes, and then we gotta go to work.